Hello everyone, my name is Ashley and I am here for an official announcement. In the spring of 2026, that is this coming up year, I will be embarking on the adventure of a lifetime. I'm going to hike the Appalachian Trail. If you know me in my regular life, you probably will not find this to be a surprise, as just about every conversation I've had in the last 6 to 8 months, I've managed to work that fact into the conversation. I've kind of made it like half my personality at this point. I imagine I'm becoming a little bit insufferable on the topic, but I'm just really excited. If you are one of my OGs from the Vintage Dietitian channel, this might be a little bit surprising. I've kind of alluded to the fact in my past videos that I might be doing a hike or an adventure coming up. Things are going to be changing on the channel, but this is what I was referring to. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about or what the Appalachian Trail is, it's a continuous footpath in the United States that encompasses 14 different states. Currently, the mileage is somewhere around like 2,197 point some odd miles, so like 2,200 miles. I'll be starting in Georgia and going northbound at first. That's my plan. But I am going to end up being a little bit slower than the average hiker, and I'm starting a little bit later in the season than most people, I think. So I may end up having to do what we call a flip-flop, which is, maybe jumping up and going back, kind of moving around the trail instead of going from point A to point B consecutively. One of the things I want to do with this hike is to offer myself as a little bit of a case study. I'm really interested in the changes that the body goes through in something as rigorous as a through hike, because you're essentially walking miles and miles and miles every single day for months at a time. You're putting your body through a very serious athletic feat. I've seen some studies put out by different men on what kind of changes happened in their bodies from through hikes. I don't know if it was necessarily the Appalachian Trail, but the information that I was not able to find is what happens in a woman's body. And I thought, well, I can't expect to find that information if no woman has used themselves as a guinea pig, so why not me? Before I leave for the trail, I'm going to be having several tests done, including my VO2 max. I'm going to have a DEXA scan done. I'm probably going to do a gut mapping, some different blood work, testing my hormones, different things like that, and I'll test them before I leave. And then I will test them again once I return, once I finish the trail, to see all of the different effects that this through hike had on my body. Having said that, if you happen to be a certified diabetes educator going through the process of becoming a certified diabetes educator, and you're somewhere in my area here in Pennsylvania, if you're looking for somebody to be a test subject to place a continuous glucose monitor, I'm your girl. Get a hold of me. Related to health types of things, I do have some health considerations on the trail. I think I alluded to that earlier when I said I'd be a little bit slower, and I have some considerations. I do have a connective tissue disorder. I have hypermobility and then also lipedema and lymphedema. In my body, that kind of translates, or the effects of that are that for all sorts of different reasons, my body produces a lot of inflammation, and I have a lot of joint pain, muscle fatigue a lot easier. That will definitely limit the number of miles that I can do in one day, I think. Now, I'm saying that today when I haven't taken off on a through hike before, and ask me again in the summertime and maybe I'll be crushing 20 miles a day and I'll look back at this girl and say, what were you even talking about? You had no idea what you were capable of. I live near the North Country Trail, and I did a 100-mile hike this summer on that trail, and it was fantastic experience. I loved it. Some moments, sometimes I had some maybe love-hate feelings toward hiking and toward the trail, but I did notice that anytime I go above around 10 miles, I really start to have some trouble with my feet, with my joints, with my muscles. So I'm planning on maybe starting out at 8 miles And if I feel good with 8 miles, bumping that up to 10, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of play it by ear, but I have a feeling I'm just gonna be a little bit slower and need to take a few more zeros than the average bear. One of the other things I have to consider, and I might talk about this further in depth if anybody wants a gear video from me, but otherwise I'll just mention it here. Lipedema is a condition in which the body produces these little diseased fat globules throughout, mostly in your legs, in your calves, in your ankle area, your hips, and then sometimes in the back of your arms and everything too. Up until recently, I thought I just had a really big butt and a really nice waist to hip ratio, and it turns out, I mean, I guess I do, but yeah, I have diseased fat in my body. It's it's actually like a problem. When that happens, when you have all those little fat globules throughout your body, it can cause some pressure and kinking in your lymphatic system. So that is what happens with lymphedema. And if you see people who they have their face swelling or their like different swelling in their arms and legs, that is what lymphedema is. So I have a medical device that I use, and it gives me like this lymphatic massage. It helps to drain the lymphatic fluid in my legs, but I also have to wear these compression leggings, and they are a pain. I hate them, but they are helpful. They're not comfortable. They're very tight. They fall down a little bit around my knees. They kind of suck, but they do keep the swelling at bay. I have to consider whether I'm going to wear these on trail or not. I imagine they're going to assist and help in the fatigue in my legs and the swelling. However, they're uncomfortable. They do not dry very fast or very well. They take a while to get on in the morning. And part of me is thinking, I know myself enough to know there's a chance that maybe I'll start out wearing these and trying them, but a week or maybe even a few days in, I'm gonna say, forget it, this is too much work, and I'm gonna move on, and pack's falling down there. I'm gonna end up moving on and probably just wearing like wool. I have wool biker shorts, different things like that. I may end up using those instead. I don't know, I'll let you know down the line. One of the things that I'm going to need to also be cognizant of is my diet with these health conditions. So I do follow a gluten-free diet, and for this Thru-hike, I'm going to be trying to do at least 50% anti-inflammatory. First, when I started planning this, I thought it'd be nice to do like 80 to 90% anti-inflammatory, because I know 100% really just is not probably realistic for a Thru-hike. But even at this point, I think 80 to 90 is maybe not as realistic as I like to think of it while I'm safe at home here in Pennsylvania. And I have access to all of these different things. So I'm really going to be shooting for about 50%. I do plan to make a lot of my food ahead of time. And I have a freeze dryer. I'm going to be doing that. And I'm planning on packing resupply boxes. And pretty much for the majority of this trip. So every 3 to 5 days. I don't plan on going much more than probably 5 days without a resupply box. I have my husband at home will be shipping those to me. I plan on doing an entire plan and packing up most of those boxes ahead of time for him to ship out. I also plan to utilize a lot of store-bought things. So there are tons of different companies that make all sorts of great food products that I have discovered so far, and I'm sure there are plenty that I haven't discovered as well. As a registered dietitian, my favorite subject is food. That's where I plan to focus what I am showing you guys. My OGs that have been with me for the last several years on this channel, you're used to seeing the vintage clothing, the vintage cooking, the vintage recipes, that sort of thing. I have a few more of those videos that I'll continue to put out for a little while, but we're going to be making a little bit of a detour. We're still going to be covering food, we're still going to be covering meals, we're still going to be covering recipes, but they're going to be skipping forward a century. I'll give some meal ideas, maybe some nutrition information behind those meals. Basically, the things that I love watching on YouTube, I will be showing you guys. You can also expect that that's what you're going to see in my vlogs on the Appalachian Trail. I plan to focus my daily vlogs on what I'm eating in a day throughout the trail, and I'm sure some other things that are going to pop up. I'm sure there'll be all these different questions and things I think about, and just the general experience while you're out there, the good, the bad, the ugly. I plan to take you along and show you all of it. I think that's about enough out of me for now. So if you have any questions, leave it in the comments below, send me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or email me, anything like that. If that's something that you're interested in, I hope that you'll follow along, and maybe some of you I'll even meet out on the trail this year. Until next time, bye guys.